Welcome to I Said What I Said. I'm Brad Wakai, not with Tyson Gentry today. He is under the weather, folks. It is the season, and he's texted me, and he's not in a good spot right now. So we're hoping that he recovers, and we'll see what we can get him back on. But, the show's got to go on. We got to give out some picks. Actually, we've done pretty well in the NFL side of things, so that's going to be coming out later. I got to get back on track in college football. I mean, Tyson had a good bounce back, and we're going to go through that as we recap week 3. It just felt like a couple things didn't bounce my way, but that's the season, especially early on. But as we're getting into some more conference play, hopefully I can turn things around. But folks, you guys know the drill. Here's what we do. We recap. We don't shy away from anything that we do here on this show. And like I said, Tyson bounced back, went 3-2 plus 2.12 units because he got home his play of the week, which was Texas Tech laying 23.5. He also took Clemson, Georgia Tech under 52.5 that got home, and then LSU -7 with a profit boost over at DraftKings for plus money. Got that home, and then missed on Oregon -27.5 in a frustrating fashion. Texas A&M Notre Dame under 50.5. That was a barn burner. I mean, my goodness, did anybody see that coming? So up 2.12 units on the week for Tyson. He is carrying the team right now as he is back to even after we had a tough week 2. Meanwhile, I went 4-5, down 0.41 units. Still have yet to break even on a week here, but a little bit more positive getting the play of the week home with Miami -17.5. Got Houston -3.5 on Friday. That was good to see. Going to start my week off well there. And then Texas Tech -23.5, Illinois -27.5. Rocking chair plays. Love that. We need some more of that. Oregon -27.5 is frustrating. I thought they were going to cover against Northwestern. They're in control the entire game. But that's the problem with laying big numbers. Sometimes the back door is open. Texas -40.5. I mean, that wasn't even close. Arch Manning, he might stink, guys. I mean, he just can't move the ball. He's getting booed by the fan base. That was not a good look. Notre Dame -6.5. Probably should have gotten there. But the botched extra point puts that 7, so I wouldn't have covered anyway. So, you know what? Might as well have Texas A&M go down and win, which they did. So that honestly made me feel a little bit better. UAB -11.5. The defense actually shows up to play for UAB in the second half, but the offense doesn't show up to play. So we can't get 11.5 home. And then Arizona State, Texas State over 59.5 does not get there, even though Arizona State looked explosive on offense. Texas State just could not get anything going, which was frustrating. So we're going to try to get back going here. Like I said, I'll have Tyson's picks that he gave me at the end of the show as I run through my slate. Of course, I got a little bit more of everything than he does for the week in college football, but we'll keep this thing rocking and rolling as I try to get back on the schneid here as I am down 7.2 units. As a show, we're down 7.17. Tyson, again, is the only one who has been carrying the workload here for us. So as we get started, it is time to look ahead to week 4. And folks, you guys know what time it is.
It's money-making time.
I got Kansas -12.5, -112 on DraftKings as my play of the week. And it's pretty simple for me here. Kansas is off a bye. West Virginia is coming off an emotional victory in the backyard brawl against Pitt. I mean, that game hasn't been played in a long time. Rich Rod freaking crying on the sideline after the game. How is West Virginia going to be emotionally going into this one? So I like Kansas here. Power rankings wise, it's right on the number. One a little more of an edge towards West Virginia, but I'm going off a situational spot here. Plus, I like Kansas's offense. 21st in EPA per pass against a defense that's 18th in defending the pass, but 107th in EPA per rush against a defense that's 32nd EPA per rush. So I'm banking on Kansas to kind of clean things up, and I also don't buy the West Virginia defense. Now that could come back to bite me a little bit. They've stopped Ohio's offense and Pitt's offense, which is supposed to be explosive, but I think Kansas is a different beast than anything West Virginia's faced, and especially coming off the bye. I like the Jayhawks to put one on the West Virginia Mountaineers here, especially coming off an emotional win. Going to the next one, Friday Night Lights, Iowa money line -125 at DraftKings. I'm taking them to beat Rutgers. This offense looks atrocious for Iowa, but Rutgers' defense has not been very good. It's actually their offense that's carrying the way here, but Iowa's defense is still Iowa's defense, and it's still extremely good. So if I can actually get Mark Gronowski against a softer defense, maybe that gets this offense going a little bit while Iowa's defense is able to slow down the strength of Rutgers. I'm going to take my chances there. So I like Iowa on a short line here, power ratings wise is all over the place. And again, that's what you kind of get at this stage of the season where you face non-conference and you don't quite have like for like stuff all the way. So I got it either Iowa should be getting 1.5 points or 1.85 points, or they should be laying 6.75 here. So I'm just going to go with who I think is the better team in this matchup, and that's Iowa, even with a gross offense. I'm going to take a chance here on the short number. Next one, Louisville, minus 25.5, minus 110 on MGM. Again, big power rankings disparity, minus 21.85 and minus 33.25 on these power rating numbers. But Louisville is off a bye. Bowling Green, still under the first-year head coach, Eddie George. I know they've actually outperformed some expectations compared to what many people thought. But this Louisville offense, I think it will get going. I mean, 106 in EPA per pass. A Jeff Brom team, really? I mean, Miller Moss, he just might not be the guy that everybody expected, but this should be an advantageous matchup for him, especially coming off the bye against an 88th ranked defense in EPA per pass. And on the flip side, Bowling Green's offense, just not very good. 73rd in EPA per pass, 104th in EPA per rush. This Louisville defense has actually been really awesome. 3rd in defending the pass on an EPA per play basis, 57th in defending the run. So I think there's going to be a lot of havoc plays. That defensive line for Louisville can get after the opposing quarterbacks. So I think Louisville's offense figures it out. The defense stifles Bowling Green, and they get over this 25.5 number. Next one, let's have some fun in the state of Texas, folks. SMU TCU over 62.5, minus 105 here on MGM. These offenses, I think, are really good. I love Josh Hoover at TCU. I love Sonny Dykes in that offense. And SMU, this was supposed to be, a team building towards something coming off of the playoff appearance. And we would have been looking at them a lot differently if they hadn't blown that game against Baylor. But that also exposed some problems with the defense. And I think TCU is going to be able to take advantage of that. So I like over this number here, especially when I look at the SMU success rate on offense, which is 40th, 75th in success rate on defense. Meanwhile, TCU's success rate on offense is 19th and success rate on defense is 76. So we got advantage across the board here. I think this is going to be a track meet, especially with SMU's passing offense, which has struggled in the 95th in EPA per pass against a defense that's 128th. So I expect some fireworks. I think we get a lot of points here. Let's go over SMU and TCU. Next one, another short number that I like, North Texas, minus 120 on the money line against Army. That's at DraftKings. I just am not buying in the Army, man. I mean, you lose your stud quarterback last year, and you lose to Tarleton State in the opener. And have they gotten things on track? They beat Kansas State, and everything's good. Jeff Monken's got these boys back rolling. I'm not a believer in Kansas State. I think if you guys have listened to this program and listened to us talk about Avery Johnson and everything, I think that is just not a good situation at Kansas State. This North Texas offense is ridiculous, man. Once again, 29th in EPA per pass, 24th in EPA per rush. And this Army secondary has not been good at stopping the pass, 104th in EPA per pass. So I think North Texas is going to be able to move the ball at will. On the flip side, you are concerned about North Texas's defense because it hasn't been a very stifling unit in the past, and especially when you got to defend the triple option look. Now, again, this is a new quarterback. You don't have Kanye Clary either, Kanye Udo, the stud running back that Army had last year. So I think they're still trying to figure things out on the offensive side of the football. And North Texas has actually done a good job. 27th in defending the pass in EPA per play basis and 31st in defending the run. Now, I think that is boosted up by playing Washington State the week prior. But Army hasn't necessarily done a great job on the ground, which is pretty shocking. 105th in EPA per rush. I know they run the ball all the time, but still. So I think North Texas is able to score points here. I think they're going to be able to do enough to stop Army in that offense I have questions about. So I think North Texas goes on the road and gets a huge victory here as conference play begins in the American. Next one, points. I'm going back to the well with UAB. I can't help myself. This defense is so atrocious. They made Akron go up and down the field at will, which is one of the worst offenses in the country, if not the worst, going into that matchup last weekend. Meanwhile, UAB's offense, when they are on schedule and they're ready to rock and roll, that offense can score points on anybody. This is a Tennessee defense that looked leaky against Georgia. It's not like that Georgia offense was impressive. I mean, before they coming in, sure, they might have been sandbagging some stuff, but Tennessee got ripped apart at certain times throughout that game. I think you can question some motivation here from Tennessee coming off that loss to Georgia, like how deflated are they, yada, yada. But Josh Heupel has been a bully in non-conference, man. I mean, he kicks the crap out of teams that aren't in the SEC, and this is a huge number, but it's one that I think that we're going to get home with ease because both these offenses should feast on these defenses. I mean, UAB's 33rd in EPA per pass, 37th in EPA per rush, going up against the Tennessee defense that's 96th and 89th. Again, athlete disparity might be something here, but UAB has shown the ability to score points. On the flip side, Tennessee's offense, 11th in EPA per pass, 58th in EPA per rush against a defense that's 135th and 107. So Tennessee, I wouldn't be shocked if they put up 60 on their own. And can we get UAB to get in a couple of touchdowns? That could happen here. But, I mean, this should be a track meet, and I think we should be on the over here. I'm taking over 69.5 minus 105 on FanDuel. Now, Washington laying 19.5 minus 110 on MGM in the Apple Cup against Washington State. Normally don't like to lay big numbers in rivalry games, but this isn't your average rivalry game here because Washington State looks atrocious. I mean, everybody expected it with Jake Dickert going to Wake Forest. Everybody expected it with John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle heading out to Oklahoma. But what we have seen from the Cougs has been downright embarrassing. And now you got a Washington team coming off a bye, too, to be able to prepare for this, be able to make a statement. Jed Fish, year 2. Come on, let's blow some teams out. Let's blow out our rivals. I think that happens here. Washington's offense, 19th in EPA per pass, first in EPA per rush. They have been running the rock effectively. Now, again, competition, not that great. They're going to have to carry it over into this one. But Washington State's defense, 83rd in defending the pass on EPA basis, and then 96th in defending the run. So they are not a good unit. North Texas just went up and down the field on them. And on the flip side, Washington State's offense is abysmal. 87th in EPA per pass, 134th in EPA per rush. This team, I don't think is going to be able to move the ball very well. I get it's a rivalry game. I get that sometimes you have to throw some stuff out whenever two teams are playing each other in the backyard. But this should be a domination by Washington. They are heading in the right direction. Washington State is heading in the wrong one. They put one on them. In Washington rolls, laying 19.5 points here. Last one for me, then I'll get into Tyson's picks. I have Arizona State Baylor over 60.5 minus 108 on DraftKings. Yes, I'm going back to the well. I think Arizona State's offense is much better than they've shown, and this Baylor defense has not been impressive under Dave Aranda, and especially when it comes to the ground game. I mean, 118th in defending the rush on an EPA per play basis. Meanwhile, Arizona State 9th in EPA per rush. Like, I think they could put up points themselves by just running the ball. And Sam Leavitt has not been performing too well passing the rock, 97th EPA per pass. We'll see if that translates into this one. I mean, Baylor 14th in EPA per pass. They haven't done a good job on the secondary side of things. But if they're just going to attack and rush the ball, I think we're going to get a lot more of a similar look that Auburn had with the mobile quarterback of Jackson Arnold. So I think Arizona State's going to be able to move the rock at will here, and they're going to be able to finally pay off some of the drives that they've had in the red zone that they haven't been able to. And on the flip side, Baylor's offense, Sawyer Robertson is a Heisman candidate with what he's been doing. They are throwing the ball all over the field. And I think that continues in this one, going up against a defense that's 43rd in EPA per pass and 106th in EPA per rush. So Baylor's offense, the numbers don't necessarily jump off the page, 52nd in EPA per pass, 93rd in EPA per rush, but this is an explosive offense. This is an offense that is led and captained by a really good quarterback in Sawyer Robertson, and I think they're going to be able to come in here, put up some points, and we get over this one late night. So those are my plays, folks. Tyson, again, he's been carrying the show here. I'm going to try to get back in the saddle and get back on the winning side of things, but I got to share what he's rocking with, and it's 5 plays this week. Iowa Rutgers under 46.5 minus 105 on FanDuel. Texas Tech Utah under 56.5 minus 105 on MGM. Got to get his FCS boys in here at some point. Idaho plus 14.5. I mean, an interesting game against San Diego State. And then Illinois, Indiana under 52.5 minus 110 on FanDuel, and Hawaii money line plus 115 over Fresno State on the island. That's an interesting game there. I mean, that's something I think Micah Alajado's back, so that's something to keep an eye out for. You know, he was injured the week prior, so and not San Jose, or it's not San Diego State in Idaho. I'm sorry, San Jose State. So I was actually thinking about going a little mano-a-mano with him with San Jose State, but I didn't have the balls to do it because I already faded Idaho once with UNLV, and it did not work out in my favor. And so the Texas Tech Utah game, that is a monstrous one with implications in the Big 12 championship race. And so I'm going to have my eyes glued to that. Tyson thinks it's going to be pretty low scoring, so that's something to note there. 5 plays for him here. We hope we'll get him back. No parlay this week. Just because Tyson's not in here, I didn't feel like putting something together. I wanted his input. That's normally how we like to do things on this, but we got to throw up what happened last week here for you guys. In week 3, Oregon wasn't able to get home for us. That hurt because I felt like we were in a good position getting Illinois minus 27.5 home and Texas Tech minus 23.5 home. And LSU was looking good. Oh, I'm kind of glad that Oregon wasn't able to cover, because if Notre Dame and this parlay would have lost because of that Notre Dame game, I would have been livid. So we can kind of sit back and chuckle and be like, oh, let's make fun of Notre Dame without it. So we're hoping to get back on track. We'll have him back in the saddle next week, hopefully, if he's feeling better. And we'll try to scheme up something and get home one of these parlays, because I feel like we're getting closer and closer. This one was the closest we were with Oregon. Probably should have covered. Notre Dame definitely should have won that game. But we'll figure things out in the college football side of things. Long way to go, folks. I mean, we're just entering conference play. We're going to have much more even playing field, so should be able to find some edges on that front as we start moving into what's the big boy stuff in football, as we start getting right into the meat of the schedule. So that's going to do it for us here on I Said What I Said. Like, subscribe, and share the show on the way out. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're listening to podcast form, 5 stars. If you haven't already, Spotify, Apple, you guys know the drill. Share it with a friend, share it with an enemy, share it with your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa's friend. I don't know. You guys just help. We appreciate all the support you guys have given us already. We're trying to make this grow as much as possible. So if you've been riding with us from the beginning, we appreciate it. And if you're new, welcome in. We got NFL picks coming out later, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.